As you can see here, we're gonna learn something about, well, this is the requirements released by the College Board about the new test, the digital test, okay? And let's read one sentence here, that is here. Informational graphics, tables, bar graphs, and line graphs. So today, we're gonna focus on the graphic information. Read the figure and like understand all those information in a graph and how to decode this kind of questions. All right, so for the graphic questions, there are something I want to let you know before we do the exercise, okay? Number one, what is the possible format for this kind of questions? So first of all, they're gonna give you a graph first, okay? They're gonna give you a graph first. The graph could be a bar graph. It could be a chart. It could be a bar, okay? It could be a pie chart. So they have different format, but it's the same. They give you a graph first, and then they give you a passage. The passage is gonna be very short. It's a mini passage, just one paragraph, usually. And then they're gonna give you the one last sentence, that is the question. Usually the one last sentence is the question. It could be a blank to fill in. Okay, so that's the basic format, 3 parts. For the new SAT test, they always give you the 3 parts at the same time. All right, so the next one is, you're gonna know what is the topic. What is the possible topic for all the graphic questions? Most of them, like 90% of the graphic questions are coming from scientific passages. Just like the older test, okay, they're all coming from the scientific passages. So for the poem, they will not ask you any graphic questions about poetry. Okay, so for the topic or fiction, there's no graphic question after a fiction, after novel. So for this topic, you're gonna write something like natural or social science. That is the topic. So for the natural science, it could be biology, the most popular one, biology, botany, chemistry, physics, astronomy. And for the social science, they could ask you something about business, economy, psychology, anthropology, and so on. So these are the possible topics you will see. There is a graphic question attached. And number 3 is about the question types. There are 2 different types of questions they can ask you about graphic information. Number 1 here, number 1 is they're going to ask you to complete the sentence. Complete the sentence. And the sentence is the last sentence of the previous passage, the previous paragraph. Okay, for example, in conclusion, comma, blank. There's a line here. And you're going to choose from A, B, C, D to find which one I can put here as a conclusion of the whole passage from the chart. Okay, so that's the first type of questions. Complete a sentence. It's very common. Number 2 is you don't have to complete any blanks. There's no blanks to fill in, but you're going to summarize. You're going to summarize the information from the chart and maybe incorporate the information from the chart and the passage. So both of the part, passage and the figure, they're equally important. You cannot ignore either of them. Okay, read carefully of both the figure and the paragraph at the same time. All right, so that's the 3 basic things you have to know. The last part, which is also the most important ones, is some maybe strategics, okay, something we can deal with the graphic informations. So for this one, my personal suggestion for you is, number 1, please always read the question first. Okay, don't just directly dive into the chart and read the chart to save more time. Remember, for every single question, you have 70 seconds. Sometimes the chart can be very complicated. Okay, so read the question first. Understand what is the goal, what they ask you to do. Okay, so give a clear idea of what you should be looking for in a graphic or passage. That's the first step. Number 2 is you're going to go back and not read the graph, but read the passage. More than half of the questions asking you to fill in a blank. Yes, Bill?
So 17 seconds for the whole question or just to read the question?
For the whole thing, including reading and choosing.
For math and English?
For English.
Or English.
For math, you have more than 70 seconds, I think. Yeah, maybe more than 1.5 minutes.
Oh.
Right. Okay, don't worry about the math. You got plenty of time for math, but for the English, you only have 70 seconds. 71 or 2 seconds. Okay, around 70. So let's go back to the tips. Number 2 is read the passage this time. And what you're gonna looking for. Remember here, okay, take down your notes. You're gonna looking for several things. Number 1, what is the main claim? Sometimes they're going to use the same word, claim. They claimed that, okay? Underline the part. So looking for the main claim of those researchers, or maybe looking for the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis? What is the conclusion? They always ask you something about that, not the steps of the experiment. They're asking you about the findings. Okay, so that's the second step you're going to go. You're going to go read the passage. Number 3, now we're going to go back to the graph. Okay, so number 3 is take several seconds to analyze the graph. Okay, analyze the graph, the chart. So make sure you understand what different elements represent, especially you pay attention to the title, the name of the graph, okay, the labels and the keys, all those different items. And here, you're going to do a thing. Please look for some patterns, especially if they're trying to ask you to summarize the main idea. So you need to look for the patterns. Maybe like the train is going down or upward, or if it's a bar chart, it's a comparison, right? What is the like common pattern for the 3 pairs of bars? So look for patterns. That's the number 3 step. Okay. Finally, is we're going to go to the answer choices. AC here refers to answer choices, A, B, C, D, 4 options, okay? Go to the answer choices and please use elimination. Just starting from the first one to the last one. So from A to D, check each option one by one. If you're lucky, you might get it right in the first one. Sometimes it's very time consuming. Okay, and because usually we're going to spend more time on the graphic information in the graphic questions. So you need to like save as much time as possible in the previous parts. For example, for the vocabulary questions. We haven't learned the vocabulary questions yet, right? In the advanced class. Okay, in the future, we will learn the vocabulary questions. So you're going to save some time for that part, which means you're going to finish that part as fast as you can. Okay, and the grammar part, finish them fast. About punctuation, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and move on. Okay, you're going to leave more time for the graphic questions. They deserve that. Okay, and most of the time they're difficult. Remember, like for every module, it's a mixture of different difficulty levels, right? There are lower, medium, and higher levels. So usually the quantitatives, the graphic questions, they're high level, they're difficult ones, which means they're worth more points. Okay, give them more time. Hey, Bill.
8.
All right, so let's break this one down into several steps. What is the first step? Did you read the question first?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to find some data to complete the example, which means next step, I'm going to go back to the last sentence, right?
Yes.
Participants' evaluation varied widely depending on which occupation was being considered, for example. So I'm looking for a specific example to support the previous sentence. And Bill, could you please circle 3 or 2 words in the underlined part, the keywords?
How do I circle?
You can tell me. I'm going to circle.
For example, like 82% believe
Oh.
that.
Okay, I mean like from the last sentence,
Oh,
the underlined part, which words are important in the last sentence?
which occupation, like
Mm.
depending on which,
Right, occupation. What else?
varied. Like
Good,
different.
okay, very widely. Which means you're gonna find a supporting evidence that show like different occupation. They are like, they have different evaluation, right, from the participants. So if you see only one occupation in the option, it's not gonna be your answer because only one occupation, you cannot see varied widely. Okay, so Leo, why the first one is correct?
Because it says like 82% believe that it could work effectively as a tour guide.
Mhm.
But then it says for a different occupation, for surgeon, only 16%. So it's very a lot and also different occupation.
Right, you see different occupation, different jobs, tour guide and surgeon, and also the numbers, they're like very different from each other, 92 and 16. Good. So see, if you're lucky enough, the first one gonna be your option. Just in the real test, if you run out of time, then you just move on, okay? But if you have more time, you can just double check the BCD and confirm your choice. For example, let's take a look at the second option. Leslie, what is the problem with the second option?
Unlike the first option, it only talks about one job, which is being a teacher. So it doesn't vary, and then.
Right. There's only one occupation, so you cannot see that very widely depending on which occupation. Okay, only one occupation, cannot see that. So number 3, news anchor and surgeon. They have different occupation, but why not C? Xu, why not C? What is the problem with option C?
C is that so this was I think C is correct. It's because it doesn't really.
C is correct.
C could be correct, yeah, because it's 90% it's neutral for TV. But how is it not correct?
How is not correct? Right, that's the that's my question. So why C is not correct?
I don't know.
I know. We're looking for the evidence to support their evaluation very differently. Like they have different evaluation about different occupation, but here, same, see? 9% of participants, they feel neutral about this job, and the same percent, they feel neutral about this job. You didn't see anything about varied widely. There's no varied. Varied means change. There's no change because they're the same. Same is not varied, right? So not supportive. That's the reason why C is wrong. Even though they're talking about different occupations, there's no difference. And we need to find not only a difference, but a large difference, a huge difference between the evaluation to different jobs, okay? So C, the problem is that. And for option D, 92% of participants believe that is somewhat or likely work as a firefighter. That's it. There's no comparison. So how can I get the varied, widely information from? Okay, so D is also incorrect. All right, so please, every time, just start from option A to D, okay? Because sometimes if the test designer, they're kind enough, they're gonna put the correct answer as the first one to help you save some time. Okay, because in my previous class, some students, they like to start from D, okay, from D, C, B, and A, and finally they find the correct answer and they waste a lot of time, okay? Always from the top to the bottom, okay? The A is correct. Around 40 to more than 70 urban 2020s. Okay, Jincheng, so we're gonna fill in the blanks and tell me which word is the keywords in the last sentence.
Algeria.
Algeria, good. And the next step is we're gonna go back to find the key for Algeria, right?
Algeria is a triangle.
Triangle, which is here. Good.
Yeah. And then from 40 to 70 it shows.
Exactly. Okay, so it's 40 to 70, which is okay. That's a very typical question asking you about the graph information. And you may sense some difference between this one with the previous one. You can take a guess, like why it's different. Do you feel like the second one is easier than the first one? Jincheng, do you feel this one's easier?
Yeah, kind of.
Yes, okay. Because let's be honest, this one is from the old test. Okay, they just changed the format for the old test, but this is how they test you from the old SAT. The number one question, that's the new SAT, which means finding the specific numbers, that's basic skills. For the new test, they need you to do more, and they're gonna give you more tricky options. For this one, you can see the A, B, C, D, they just give you different figures. So just find a matching number, then you find the answer, right? But previously, they give you a longer sentence, complicated like sentence structure. So it's way more difficult than this one. So get prepared, okay? Only to know how to solve this one is not enough. You have to know how to solve the previous one. I will give you some real examples later. So for this one, C is correct. Okay, that's correct. Why?
Well, the last sentence is that the number overall has fallen since 2010, and answer A is the only one that gives you numbers for 2010 2019. The other ones give like numbers in between that are not like support.
Right. Right, and you're gonna find the trend is like going down. So it's going from 1,000 to 500, so that's definitely going down. Okay, so this one is like a summarize question. Which one is a better summary of the trend? All the other ones, they give you like a specific point, and they didn't show this like going down trend, like falling tendency.
Maxine, also it was talking about different ones from 2010 to 2019.
Right.
So A gives statistics from 2010 to 2019, so that gives the best one. Because D, it also works, but it gives 2010 to 13 only. You need more varying over years.
Right, okay, and for D, it's actually increasing. Right, it's going up, it's not going down, right? So there are many reasons for the wrong answers, but yes, the correct answer would be A. In all the aspect, A is correct. Okay, that could be the second way they will ask you in a real test to summarize the whole tendency. You don't have to like fill in the blanks,